Today, we are closing the market for military-grade assault weapons in Canada. We are banning 1,500 models and variants of these firearms by way of regulations. These weapons were designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. There is no use and no place for such weapons in Canada. For many families, including many Indigenous people, firearms are part of traditions passed down through generations, and the vast majority of gun owners use them safely, responsibly, and in accordance with the law, whether it be for work, sport shooting, for collecting, or for hunting. But you don't need an AR-15 to bring down a deer. So, effective immediately, it is no longer permitted to buy, sell, transport, import, or use military-grade assault weapons in this country. To protect law-abiding gun owners from criminal liability until they can take steps to comply with this new law, there will be a 2-year amnesty period, and we will legislate fair compensation.
A few weeks ago, in the midst of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Canada suffered its worst mass shooting in the country's history. 22 innocent lives were lost over the course of a weekend rampage across beautiful communities throughout Nova Scotia. Canadians were shocked and they were heartbroken. And as we learned the identities of the victims of these terrible crimes, we were reminded of the tragic impact that gun violence can have on all of our communities, urban and rural, from coast to coast to coast. Mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, friends and neighbors were taken from us terribly, violently, and far too soon. And sadly, gun violence is not a new thing in our society, but it's made all the more deadly with the proliferation of firearms that are more powerful than ever before. Assault-style firearms, those that were not designed for hunting or sport shooting, but they have become more and more prevalent in our Canadian retail market. And for as long as these guns have existed, they have been capable of inflicting tremendous damage when they fall into the wrong hands. And for example, in 1989, 14 women were murdered at École Polytechnique in a horrific act of deadly misogyny. 17 years later, Montreal was shaken yet again with the shooting at Dawson College. In 2014, Moncton was terrorized by a criminal that took the lives of 3 RCMP officers. And 3 years ago, in January, in Saint-Foy, Quebec, a shooter killed 6 innocent Muslims while they were in prayer. Many of us have vivid and tragic memories of each of these events. They have become sadly a part of our history, these tragic moments when innocent women, worshippers, police officers, and innocent Canadians across the country have been killed by evil people wielding powerful guns. For decades, chiefs of police, advocacy groups, grieving families, and everyday Canadians have been calling for a ban of these types of firearms, guns that were designed for soldiers to kill other soldiers and not for recreational purposes, guns that belong on a battlefield and not on our streets, guns that were designed to kill people. They were intended in their purpose to kill people, and they have been used in Canada to kill innocent people. And for decades, Canadians have been calling upon successive governments for reform, for stronger gun control. And we have listened, and today we are taking action. Today, as the Prime Minister has said, we are announcing an immediate ban on over 1,500 models of assault-style firearms, and effective immediately, these newly banned firearms cannot be legally used, sold, or imported in our country. And as of today, the market for assault weapons in Canada is closed. Enough is enough. And we are ending the proliferation of these weapons and the militarization of our society. From this moment forward, the number of these guns will only decrease in Canada. We've heard many people express concern about the militarization of our police, and this is a direct consequence of the militarization of society. And Canadians deserve to live in a society where they can be safe and secure. And people from coast to coast have been clear. We cannot risk another shooting at a school or a place of worship or another attack on police officers, or on women, or on innocent Canadians anywhere in this country.
I grew up on a farm in northern Alberta. We had guns on our farm, and we still do, as on many farms across our country. If there were bears around, my dad would keep a gun in his truck. And sometimes he'd hunt prairie chickens on his way home for supper. And you know what? Neither my dad nor any other farmer I knew then, or have known since, owned an assault rifle or an assault-style rifle. And that's because those weapons are not for hunting. They aren't for shooting a prairie chicken or scaring off a bear. They're designed for only one purpose: to kill people and to look like they can kill people. Lorsque nous réfléchissons au massacre des 14 femmes à l'école polytechnique, ou la fusillade au collège Dawson, ou à l'horrible tragédie qui a eu lieu à Port-à-Pic en Nouvelle-Écosse il y a 2 jours, ça renforce notre détermination. When we reflect on the massacre of 14 women at the École Polytechnique in 1989, or the Dawson College shooting in 2006, or the horrible tragedy in Port-à-Pic, Nova Scotia, just 12 days ago, those heinous acts strengthen our resolve. And that resolve is to close the gaps in our gun control laws and to keep the most dangerous firearms out of civilian hands. We neither need nor want such weapons in our homes, in our pickups, in our communities, or on our streets. These guns make it easier to commit mass murder, and the culture around their fetishization makes our country inherently more dangerous for the people most vulnerable, and that is women and girls.